Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel, Govind English Teacher. Today, we are diving into the fascinating world of decoding and coding language. And I am going to break it down in the simplest way possible. In this video, we will explore the basics of decoding and encoding and how it all relates to English. By the end of the video, you will have a clear understanding of how language can be transformed and deciphered. Let us get started.
Good morning, viewers. Today, let us discuss what language is. All of us know that language is the integration of four skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Of course, language is a means of communication, and language is thought, and thought is language. In a sense, language and thought are inseparable. But the problem is how we acquire the first language and how we acquire the second language. In fact, we need not give much difference between how we acquire the first language and how we acquire the second language. But as far as the first language is concerned, we learn it in a living, non-conscious atmosphere. But as far as second language is concerned, we always try to learn it in an unnatural atmosphere and try to learn it unconsciously or non-consciously. That's why we tend to learn the language in parts instead of learning the language as a whole. That is the problem with the second language acquisition like English. Today, first of all, we would know what the components of language are, the skills of language are. We know that they are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. If I ask the question, what is listening? What is your answer? You can't answer it immediately. You have to think. What is listening? Listening is nothing but encoding the sounds made by the speaker. Actually, you are here encoding the sounds. Encoding the means you are trying to get meaning out of the sounds. Now I am speaking. What are you doing here? You are trying to understand the message behind my speech. That in other words, you are trying to decode the words so that you are getting the meaning of my message. Unless you know the meaning of the words, or unless you know how to decode the words, you don't get the meaning. Suppose when I listen to the speech in Urdu or in Hindi or in some other languages, I don't get the meaning because I am not accustomed to those sounds. I can't decode them. This is called listening. What is speaking? So speak. Suppose I ask the question, second question, what is speaking? You say you can't explain it well because while you are speaking, you are just making some sounds. Of course, you are making some meaningful sounds. These sounds become meaningful to the person who is familiar with those sounds. Otherwise, they become unmeaningful. Just like when we listen to the languages, we don't know. That's the problem with the decoding of the sounds. That's why speech is encoding the sounds. Listening is the decoding the sounds. It is a matter of encoding and decoding. In order to do these things, you should know how to encode and you should know how to decode. If you know these factors, these things, you can easily speak and you can easily understand. Now, let us come to the third point. What is reading? When you read a book or when you read a story, what do you find there? Actually, you think that there are some words, some sentences or so. Of course, there are. But actually, what exactly they are? They are some graphemes. Grapheme means signs or symbols. Actually, what you are doing is you are reading the symbols and you are trying to get meaning out of the symbols, just like listening and speaking. This is called reading. So unless you know the graphemes, Unless you know how to get meaning out of the symbols, you can't understand. Even if you read, you don't understand, then it is called pseudo reading. In our classes, what happens? Our children read, but they don't understand. That is nothing but pseudo reading, because we think that they are reading, but they are reading without getting the meaning. So that is not at all useful. You read means read with comprehension. Even reading aloud is not enough. Of course, that's why those who are good users of reading read it silently and they can understand it. So that is about reading. So what is the last one? Writing. Writing means encoding some written symbols. When you encode some symbols, you are doing something. That means you are writing. You are sending a message to the reader. So when the reader looks at the symbols, he will decode the meaning. So in that way, this is an interaction between writer and the reader, and also between the speaker and listener. Nothing happens in one way. You cannot speak without the readers. Of course, I am speaking here with the intention that my video or my speech is going to be heard or listened to by the viewers. Otherwise, I can't speak. Otherwise, if I speak, there is no meaning in it. Of course, if I can speak for my practice, that's okay. Without purpose, we can't do anything. Otherwise we will be considered insane. So these are the steps you have to do to become a good user of the language: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The other problem, what are the other problems you face while speaking a language, or reading a language, or listening to a language, or writing a wrong language? Nothing happens if you have that desire and the intention and the necessity. You will definitely start speaking, reading, and writing. While you listen to the sounds, after some time you will get the phonemic consciousness. That means when you listen to the sound, you are able to understand the phonemes and also you're able to understand the meaning also. For example, apple. Of course, you listen to the sound apple like this. There are phonemes. Then you will come to know the meaning of that apple. Apple is a fruit. School, it is a building like that. It is the place where children study. You immediately get that meaning. This is called phonemic consciousness. Consciousness means to be aware of the phonemes. It usually happens. You need not teach anything. It happens. Our brain has got that system. When you read something repeatedly, you get the grapheme consciousness. That means you understand the symbols and you get their meaning. Suppose when you read something like Lux, Rexona, Mysore Sandal, whenever you read the words, you know that they are the names of soaps. So that is called, you are trying to identify the graphemes or signs.
So in this way, we can conclude that language is nothing but encoding and decoding of sounds and symbols, and also it is integration of four skills. So what we discussed earlier. Thank you very much for watching my channel.